Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Mark Clemens Postcards. I've gone and done it again. I bought more postcards. My wife often says to me, "Don't you have enough postcards?" And I would have to say, "Yes, actually, I have too many postcards." But the allure of more postcards is just too great for me, and I suspect it might be too much for many of you out there. So anyway, I bought some more postcards, and here's the story. If you remember a couple videos ago, I showed you a big pile of postcards that a local paper dealer brought to me, and we looked at that pile, and then I went through it and showed you some of the better cards that I chose out of there, and we did make a deal on that. Well, that same dealer came back to me with another pile. Now, this pile isn't quite as big as the last one, but still a considerable amount of cards. And so I made a deal on those too. So in this video, I want to show you, first we'll look at the pile of stuff that he brought me, and then I'm going to go through it and show you the some of the better cards that I picked out. Now, I did make a deal. This isn't a pending transaction here. I did go ahead and purchase those, and so the cards I'm going to be showing you are ones I actually bought, and I just wanted to show you some of the better ones that were in there. I apologize ahead of time. This video is going to be kind of long because it just took me a lot longer to go through the cards than I thought it would. And maybe I just talked too much as well. I'm not sure. But anyway, let's do this. First, we'll look at the pile of stuff, and then I'm going to go through and show you some of the better cards that I picked out. Okay, I'm going to attempt to show you what we have here in this pile. It's quite an assortment of things, but let's take a look. This first box, there's a clothes hanger. Got some old photos. Here's a bag with some photographs and stuff in it. I see some sheets of postcards down in there. Down here we got some stacks of postcards. Some more postcards here. I see a bunch of old bottle openers. That could be interesting to look through here. Over here we have a wooden tray, as you can see, with a bunch of abandoned postcards in here. Little stacks of cards. Here's stacks of cards. Here's stacks of cards back here. Here's a big box. If we open this up, again, you can see pages of cards in here. There's a cigar box full of cards. Another cigar box. Sorry for the camera work, trying to do this with one hand. Another box full of cards. There's some loose stacks of cards. Here's an album. Got cards in it. Another album down here. Again, I apologize for the camera work. It's hard to hold this, but here's a big album with pages and pages of cards in it. These are all postcards. Make some order out of that. Moving on down the way, here's a postcard box full of cards. There's a tin can. When we open that up, we see stacks of postcards in there, and a box that has stacks of postcards in it. Here's a shoe box full of cards. Here's another album. Cards. There's some automobiles advertising in there. And then, excuse me, Some other cards in there. Here's a box that has, these are actually laminated postcards. These are made from original postcards that have been copied and then enlarged, and they're laminated. Say not an actual postcard, but I do sell these. They're fairly popular with buyers. They're really nice to frame and hang on the wall. Underneath that box, another box with a box in it that has postcards, stacks of postcards, and I see pages down underneath there, pages with postcards in it. Again, I have to apologize for the poor camera work. Trying to do this with one hand is kind of difficult. Here's two more postcard boxes, full to the max with postcards. Full to the max with postcards. Moving over this way, here's a box of some assorted stuff, but I do see here's some postcards here. Some more laminated postcards. Old binder. More cards under there. Another little album with postcards. There's a box. I see, yeah, it's heavy. And that's full of postcards. Here's a flat with stacks of postcards in it. Kind of a mishmash of stuff in here, but it looks like a fair amount of cards in there. And I think lastly, here's another box. Open it up and guess what's in there? Stacks of postcards. So, stepping back, if I can get back far enough, you can see there from the left side of the counter and the whole way across to there, all boxes containing primarily postcards. There's some other things in there, but for the most part, there's postcards. So once again, I have my work cut out for me going through and assorting, sifting through and seeing what's good and what's not in there. And I will get back to you with what I find. Okay, let's take a look at these. First up, we have a horse wearing a straw hat. When I first saw this card, I thought of Mr. Ed. If any of you were old enough to remember the television show Mr. Ed about the talking horse, that's what I thought of when I saw this. And if you're too young for that, well, you'll have to look it up. This is also an artist signed card. You can see the signature down there. It's undivided back. It was postmarked 1906. Here we have a real photo studio postcard. Here's two gentlemen on the back of what looks like a train car. Here it says Empire State Express. I've talked about these Pose Studio views before, and this is the cool one. Undivided back, unused. Here is an interesting real photo view. It's a cabin and some people sitting around on the porch. Here's a dividing line. It looks like the dividing line between Kentucky and Tennessee, I believe. This was postally used, mailed from Jenkins, Kentucky to Pennsylvania. I'm going to do a little bit more research on that card, but I found that pretty interesting. Here we have another real photo. This just says the reunion at the Little White Schoolhouse, August 8th, 1926. It's unused, so there's no indication of where this was located. But again, I just thought it was an interesting card. You can see the schoolhouse here, some old vintage automobiles. So again, I'm going to maybe try to do a little research to find out more about that one. Here's the stadium. This is the University of Kansas. You see that's their football stadium. It's postally used. It is a linen card. Here's the ship. This is the Cunard
line Mauritania leaving New York Harbor. These big ships are always popular. This one was used 1911. White border card. Here's a nice railroad card. This is the Broadway Limited Pennsylvania Railroad. You can see it crossing the bridge. This bridge looks to me like the Rockville Bridge in Harrisburg, PA, but I don't know for sure that's what it is. Just looks like it. It was postal used in 1932. Real nice, colorful railroad card. Here's a card from the Boy Scouts of America. Here it says, had a swell time here at Boy Scout camp and will be home soon. Unused linen era card. Here we have a chrome card. This is Elvis Presley's Palm Springs home. This is a chrome era card, unused. Celebrity homes are a good topic. Here's a nice one. This is the entrance to Euclid Beach Park in Cleveland, Ohio. I sell a lot of cards from Euclid Beach Park. This is a nice one of the main entrance, and you can see all the vintage automobiles parked over there. White border card, unused. This is not actually a postcard. This is a folding card. It has no writing inside, really nothing on back, but some dealer scribblings there. But this appears to be hand-drawn, like in ink. You can feel the texture of the drawing on there. And you can see it looks like it was done with the ink pen or something. Down here in the corner it says Haiti. So I thought that was very interesting. Usually anything that's handmade like that is collectible. Here we have high school in Findlay, Ohio. High school's always popular. Divided back card. Here we have another celebrity home. This is Bob Hope's house in Palm Springs, California. There you can see a swimming pool. Here is a view of the wagon lock and the railroad gate at the State Penitentiary in Joliet, Illinois. Recently I've sold several views of the prison here in Joliet, and so I think this is an interesting one as well. That's a white border card. It was postmarked 1927. Here's an advertising card. This is for Black Velvet Canadian Whiskey. Doesn't have a stamp box, but it is postcard size. Could be used as a postcard. Nice advertising. It's in nice, clean, good condition. Another celebrity home, Bing Crosby's Palm Springs home. Obviously, Palm Springs was a popular place for celebrities to live. Unused chrome. Here we have Hotel Sierra in Las Vegas, Nevada. A nice chrome card. It's not used either. You can see the swimming pool there. Lots of people hanging out around at poolside. Usually hotels, motels do well, especially when they have nice swimming pool views. Here's a view of Clark's Tourist Camp in Stamford Center, Ontario, Canada. You can see some little cabins there, a couple old automobiles. Not used, white border era card, but roadside stuff is always good. Here we have another Palm Springs view. This is the swimming pool at the Hotel Oasis in Palm Springs. A linen era card, unused. Nice colorful view. Here we have Cooper's Glade Gliders near Miami, Florida. This is obviously a ride you could go on. Looks like it costs $2 to take a ride on this boat in the Everglades. It's a chrome era card, was postally used in 1952. Here's a nice linen card. This is the airport in Jacksonville, Florida. You can see a nice close-up view of the Eastern Airlines airplane there. Unused, has a little bit of residue on the back, but still the front is very nice and clean. Airports and aircraft do good. Here we have the east side of Washington Avenue in Titusville, Florida. I always like the street scenes, and they do sell well. This is a linen card, unused, pretty clean, and you can see some nice signage there and storefronts and some older cars parked out front. Here's another street scene in Titusville, Florida. This is Washington Avenue looking south, and again we see old cars, we see signage. And there's a Texaco sign there. Another nice street view. Lenawee County Savings Bank in Adrian, Michigan. This is an old undivided back card, hence the writing on the front. This was postmarked in 1908. Banks are always a good one. Another high school. This is the Hudson High School in Hudson, Michigan. Again, high schools, always popular. Everybody went to one. Divided back, unused. Here we have the Mineral Spring at Nipe Sanitarium in Rome City, Indiana. Undivided back, unused. But sanitariums, good sellers. Got some shadowing at the corners, but I don't think that will affect it greatly. Here's another real photo. This is the, McDouglas residence. It looks like in Rockdale, New York. Nice view of the home there. This one is postally used, 1907. And so it's from Rockdale, and it's to another place in New York. It's nice that it's identified. Somebody no doubt lives there today. If that house still exists, they would be interested in that view. Here is the Battle Monument in Baltimore, Maryland, and I picked this card particularly just for its age. It's an old undivided back card, postmarked in 1903. I think I've mentioned before it's unusual to see views earlier than 1906. I mean, they are out there, don't get me wrong, but I don't come across them very often. So whenever I see one of an older date like that, I usually grab it. Here we have a Canadian view. This is the Carlton House in Halifax, Nova Scotia. A nice old view. See a horse-drawn carriage over here. Lots of people lined up. There's another horse-drawn carriage. I don't know if these people are waiting for carriages to go somewhere or just enjoying the weather. This is postally used, 1907, and the card was printed also in Canada. It's a pretty nice view. Here we have another high school in Corning, Iowa. Not postally used, divided back card. High schools, always popular. Here's a nice real photo. Now this is just a group of people, but to me what makes this a good one is on the back. We have these people identified. It says they are in a wedding party that occurred in 1917, and it names them. But then it says in front of 1520 Ranchera Street in Santa Barbara, California. So this is identified. So whether this building still exists as is or not, but somebody is no doubt at that residence. So we're going to see what happens with that one. Here's another card, Dansville, New York. This is a bird's eye view. You can see a lot of the town laid out there. It is undivided back, postally used, 1906. Nice view of a small town. This is Newport, Kentucky. This is a view on Park Avenue. Whoops, it's got a little tear, a crease and a little tear down here. This is an undivided back card. It was postally used in 1911. So another town street view. This is the Civic Arena, or what formerly was the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Chrome card. It says on the back, Pittsburgh's new Civic Auditorium. This building was a very popular venue for sports events and concerts and theater events. All kinds of things took place in this. What made this building unique was it had a retractable roof. And I have been at events there where the roof was retracted, and it's quite a spectacle. Very fascinating building. Unfortunately, Pittsburgh, in their excellent foresight, chose to demolish this building several years ago. Here we have a real photo view. Down here in the corner it says near Tacoma, and on the back the message indicates that Tacoma Lake is about 16 miles from Lewiston, Maine, which is where this card was sent from in 1921. So that kind of identifies that and makes that a viable real photo. And here we have some other Lewiston, Maine cards. Here's Sisters Hospital, a white border view, postally used 1920. Here we have the Cora Temple Shrine Building, also in Lewiston, Maine. White border, postally used 1920. Here is a view in Wheeling, West Virginia. West Virginia cards are pretty good sellers. And what's funny about this card is it says down here skyscrapers in Wheeling, West Virginia. So if you look across the river, you would see nothing that would meet the idea of today's skyscrapers. These are relatively small buildings, maybe 10 or 12 stories. But at that time, those were considered skyscrapers. This is a white border card. It was postally used, and I can't, the date is smudged there. Here it says 1918. So that's what skyscrapers looked like in 1918. Here we have, again, the monument in Baltimore, Maryland. And once again, yes, I think this has the 1903 date. It's an undivided card, 1903. An unusual date to come across. Don't see a lot of them. That's why I chose that one. Here we have Navajo Indian family and their Hogan, which I guess is a form of residence in Arizona. And aside from being a nice ethnic card, it also is from Fred Harvey, which is a well-collected publisher. White border, I assume, although it could be divided back. Another view here, this is Findlay, Ohio, and this is the drive by Maple Grove Cemetery. So, small town, Ohio, divided back, postally used 1908. Interesting view there, dirt road. Here is a view in Derry, Pennsylvania, which is a very small town, not too far from me. This is the First Savings and Trust Company, white border card. It was postally used. Again, I can't quite make out, that's not a very legible postmark. And another view in Derry, Pennsylvania. This is the Derry Municipal Building. This is a real photo, and it was postally used in 1918. But again, nice small town, real photo. Okay, continuing on, here is a baseball stadium. This is Comiskey Park in Chicago, Illinois. Look at that, it's a nice nighttime view. The lights are on, the game is in progress. It's a Lennon era card, got some shadowing on the back, but that's not too big of a deal. You can see it was in an album. And baseball stadiums, always a good seller. Here's another baseball stadium. This is Briggs Stadium in Detroit, Michigan. We're having a day game here, and you can again see the game is in progress. Another Lennon era card, it's unused. Nice view. Let's go back to West Virginia. This is Davis, West Virginia, and this is the National Bank building. Nice close-up view. You can also see what appears to be a drugstore here and something else. Divided back view. It was postmarked 1918. Nice West Virginia small town. Here we have a street view. This is St. Michael's Church on Pleasant Street in Auburn, Maine. You can see an old car coming down the street, a dirt street again. This card has some corner creases here at the bottom. A divided back card. It was postmarked 1920. Here's a white border card. This is the Davison County Courthouse and Bandstand in Mitchell, South Dakota. Nice view. Has a crease at the right edge here. Postally used, postmarked 1921. Here we have Greenwood, Mississippi. Mississippi cards are usually pretty good sellers if you can find a little town there. This is the King's Daughters Hospital in Greenwood. White border card, postally used 1930. And somebody did a little bit of artwork here on the back. Here we have an artist sign card, a patriotic card. This is the Star Spangled Banner, on the U.S. flag there. This is signed by Ellen Clapsaddle, very popular artist. Her cards sell well still today. This is postally used, looks like 1911. And it's embossed. So, nice artist signed card. Here's a view in Pittsburgh, PA. This is looking down the Castle Shannon incline on the south side. I find that for me personally, these incline views in Pittsburgh always sell very well. Not necessarily a real high price card, but usually when I list them, they don't sit around very long. This is a divided back card. It was postally used in, looks like 1931, a little hard to make out, but it's definitely a divided back era card, and it's got a little bit of surface loss and soiling on the back, but I'm willing to bet that will still sell. Here's an interesting card. This is Davy Jones Locker in Waikiki, Hawaii. This is the swimming pool view window beneath the Reef Hotel. So that's interesting that you could sit in the bar and you could watch people swimming in the swimming pool. Kind of reminds me of the swimming pool at Weeki Wachee, Florida, where you could watch the mermaids perform. So similar to that, but not the same as that. Chrome era card, unused. Here we have the courthouse in Holton, Kansas. Small town view. Divided back card, postmarked 1911. Nice small town. Nice courthouse shot. Here we have some automobile advertising. This is a 1955 DeSoto Fire Dome V8 four-door sedan. Unfortunately, a lot of times you will have a dealer down here. If that had that on there, it'd probably make it worth a little bit more. But still, a very nice automobile advertising card. Pretty good shape, just a little bit of edge wear. Here's a railroad station. This is the Pennsylvania Railroad Station at Steubenville, Ohio. White border card, postmarked 1925. You see the trains pulling into the station there. Railroad stations, always good sellers. Here's an interesting real photo. This is, as you can see, and as described on the back, it says, picture of a car that ran into Berlin's house. Okay, so here we have a trolley that somehow jumped the tracks and ran into a house. So that's interesting. This card was postmarked in 1912. And I'm going to do a little bit more research on that to see if I can find out exactly where that was. Another interesting real photo. This is, I don't know, it looks to be like a factory of some kind. It's unused and there's no writing on the back, so it's not identified. But it would appear one of two things is going on here. Either they're building something, or there was some kind of accident and it collapsed, because it looks in a little bit of disarray there. So not sure which one of those things is going on, but it's one of the two. Still an interesting photo. Here we have a horse-drawn stagecoach on top of what it says, Fallen Monarch. It's a giant redwood tree here at the Mariposa Grove in California. I often sell the views of the giant redwood tree that has the hole cut in the bottom and cars and things going through it. This is a little bit different, just to give you an idea of the size of this tree. An entire 6-horse team pulling a stagecoach on top of that. I hope they got back off that safely, because that looks a little risky, but whatever. Undivided card. It was not postally used, but does have a little message on the front. Here we have the Dennis Farm Delicacies Delight Hotel Dennis Diners. So this is from the Hotel Dennis in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Apparently they had their own gardens where they would grow food that they served in their own restaurant. So there you see some workers picking things, and there's some trucks that I imagine they're going to load that stuff into, take it back to the hotel. That's kind of interesting. I like that one. Here's a view in Seattle, Washington. This is a bird's eye view of the AYPE, which was the Alaska Yukon Pacific Exposition, showing Mount Rainier in the distance. So you can see a lot of activity going on around there. Real photo card, unused. I have a couple of other ones of this same event that we'll come across as we go through these. This is 4th Street looking north in Martins Ferry, Ohio. Nice street view. The drugstore here on the left. White border card, unused. It's got some vintage autos. Always street scenes, always good. All right, this is some interesting cards here. I have a whole bunch of cards from real photo cards from Orange, California. First, we have St. John's Lutheran School. Unused, but message on the back dated 1944. Another view in orange. This is the American Legion Hall. Again, dated 1944. This is Walker's Memorial Hall, again in Orange, California. This one was postally used, 1942. Here we have the Plaza in Orange, California, unused. Nice street scene. This is Glassell Street in Orange, California. This one is also postally unused, but a nice view. You can see storefronts along this side of the street. There's an old car parked there. There's some signs that I'm sure could be easily read with a magnifying glass. That's a pretty nice view there. Here's the fountain in the plaza. This one is also dated 1944 with a note on the back. Another view in Orange, California. This is the library, public library, it says. Unused, real photo. As I said, these are all real photo views. Here's a view on Chapman Street. You can see the, looks like palm trees lining the street there. Unused, but a nice view. We're still in Orange, California. This is St. John's Lutheran Church. Unused, but dated 1944. This is the first Presbyterian Church in Orange, California. Unused, but dated 1944. Again, we have St. John's. This says St. John's Lutheran Church and Manse in Orange, California. Unused, but dated 1944. What was this previous one? I thought I saw St. John's. Yeah, we have another. So we have two different views of St. John's Lutheran Church there. And the Presbyterian Church. Still in Orange, we have Emmanuel Lutheran Church, dated 1944. We have the First National Bank in Orange, California. Unused. Most of these are unused, but they do have writing on the back. This is the City Hall in Orange, California. Unused. This is the Orange Union High School. Unused, dated 1944. Women's Club in Orange, California. Also with writing on the back, but postally unused. And I think that was all for Orange, so I kind of got an instant collection. If you're interested in Orange, California, you can have a pretty nice starter collection right there with that batch of cards. Moving on, we have Monument Square in Painted Post, New York. This was postally used in 1946, as you can see, so this appears to be a chrome era card. Lots of vintage automobiles, a few signs visible over here on this corner. Here is a real photo view at Eaglesmere, Pennsylvania. This is a resort area. There's a boat on the lake there you can see. This is a Calkins photo. That's a fairly popular photographer, real photos in this area. Unused. Here's a nice restaurant postcard. This is Wilder's in Joplin, Missouri. You can see a multi-view card. There we have the counter and some booze. And here is, stepping back a little further, you can see the counter and the booze plus some tables over here. They have good things to eat and drink, choice steaks, and southern fried chicken. And as you may have guessed, if this card is not already in my collection, it will be. Here's a nice real photo. This is a military photo. This says a big gun of Battery E, 5th Field Artillery. Unfortunately, this was glued in an album, and most of the back is now unable to be read. And that does kind of decrease the value there, but still an interesting view. I'll have to do a little bit more research, see if I can find out any more about this. And last in this pile, we have a fantasy card. Here is a bear in a tuxedo making a toast. Many happy returns, he says. This is an undivided back card, postally used 1908. It is embossed. And as I said, that would fall under the dressed animals category or fantasy or anthropomorphic category, if you want to use that big word. Okay, here's some more. Here's a neat card. These sell well generally. This is a silk insert card here with some embroidering on it. And it says Lafayette 1780, Pershing 1917. We have a French and American flags crossed. There's a ship on the water. I've sold a lot of these from the World War I era. A lot of soldiers sent this type of card back to their loved ones and their family members while they were over in Europe. Again, unfortunately, this was glued in an album and has some residue and paper on the back, but it will still sell. That's still a very interesting silk military World War I era card. Here we have another fantasy card. This is some Cats Waiting for the Train. This is an Alfred Mainzer published card. It was postmarked in 1963, although I think the card itself is a little older than that. But here we have them waiting to get on the train. So again, dressed animals, fantasy, anthropomorphic. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Here's a railroad station, the Pennsylvania Railroad Station in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Latrobe is a small town just a few minutes away from me. There's the railroad station. See, this card was postally used 1909. As I said, railroad stations, always a good topic. Another view in Latrobe. This is Main Street view. You can see people walking. There's a horse-drawn wagon down there. You can see trolley tracks down the middle of the street. This card was also postally used, 1909. This is a very interesting card. Maybe some of you out there might know more about this than I do. I'm going to research it. I haven't done so yet. But this says, Eliza D. Girls, don't forget that we need a home at Austin, Texas. And then it says, Mrs. E.W. Seed, Secretary, Broadhead Avenue, Jamestown, New York. And then it says Main Street, Circleville. I'm not sure where that is, but you can see the girls over here. Let me move this up a little bit. And they're all black children. And so I'm not sure, and the photo has been colorized a little bit. So I'm not sure exactly what the Eliza D. Girls was, or still is. I don't know. If any of you know anything about that, I'd appreciate some help on that one. This card is divided back, and it was postally used in 1915. But that's just struck me immediately that seems interesting. I want to look into that one a little further. Here we have Barnum and Bailey, the greatest show on earth. This is actually an advertising card for Duryea, the world's first automobile. As you can see, these people riding in it there. They happen to be at the circus. This is a Lennon era card. It is postally used in 1948, but a real colorful, interesting card combining a couple interests, circus related and vintage automobiles. So I like that one. Here we go with another restaurant. This is the Blennerhassett restaurant in Belpre, Ohio. This is a Chrome era card. You might see the reflection off that. It's unused, but this is the kind of card I really like. Got the older vehicles parked out front. Got Coca-Cola signs there on the building. It's colorful. And again, if I do not have this one already, that's going to stay in my collection. And maybe you'll see that again in a future video. Here we have the world champion 6-horse Clydesdale team owned by Wilson and Company Packers, meat packers. Nice view of the horse team there. This is a white border card, and they're pulling a wagon with the Wilson and Company sign on it. It has a typewritten message on the back, but it wasn't posted. So an interesting crossover, animals and advertising at the same time on that one. Another restaurant. This is Jimmy's Ace of Places restaurant in Madison, Wisconsin. Another multi-view. There's the counter area and there's booths and tables. Lennon era card, unused. I recognize this card. I do have this one. So this will be going on eBay. Here's a real photo. This is the outdoor dining room at Pinewood Camp. This card is postally unused. I don't know where Pinewood Camp is. I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on that. If anybody's ever heard of that, let me know. Here's a nice view of Everett, Pennsylvania. This is a divided back card, postally used in 1909. Everett was a town along the Lincoln Highway in Pennsylvania. It's still there, and those are usually cards from Everett. Particularly harder to find ones are very good sellers. Another card in Everett, PA. This is a view on 3rd Street, looking up 3rd Street. Looks like a dirt street at this point. You can see some of the houses that are no doubt still there today. Divided back, postally used, 1909. Another nice view in Everett. This is Earlston Schools, an old schoolhouse there. You can see the bell tower. Divided back card, 1909, like the others here. And those are some pretty nice, desirable views if you're an Everett, PA collector. Here we have an interesting card. This is the Pacific Motor Coach Company, Los Angeles, Pasadena, and Venice, California. And it's a multi-view. I love the double-decker bus there in the center. This is a divided back. It was postally used in 1924. And I guess that this motor coach company ran these buses between these towns of Los Angeles, Pasadena, and Venice, California. But kind of unusual that you see these double-decker buses over in England, obviously, but not too many over here. Here we have the Dorland Institute in Hot Springs, North Carolina. Lots of people out on the lawn for this photo. Don't know what the Dorland Institute was, but this is a divided back card used in 1912. Here we have a scene at the California Alligator Farm in Los Angeles, California. And we see a fellow messing around with the alligator. He's got his hand under its mouth. And so he's performing some stunts there with the alligator. I hope that went well. And there's lots of onlookers there. A pretty interesting card. Divided back, postally used in 1914. Here we have the old Central High School in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Again, high school's always a popular topic, pretty much regardless of what town they're in. This one is divided back. It was unused. Another high school in Wolcottville, Indiana. Divided back. Doesn't appear to be postally used, although it does have writing, and there's a date of 1914 on there. This is an interesting card. What caught my eye was this Tona-Cola sign. This is Nelson's Monument in Montreal, Canada, and apparently Tona-Cola was a pretty much direct ripoff of Coca-Cola, and you can see from the sign the writing style is just like the old Coca-Cola sign. So I don't know how long they were able to continue with that before they ran into a copyright issue, but maybe back in those days you could get away with stuff like that. This is divided back. It's unused. Here's a neat card. This is the Curtiss Seagull flying over the ocean. Curtiss was an early aircraft designer and manufacturing company. And this was what they called a airboat. This airplane, as you can see, doesn't have any wheels or landing gear. It has floats, and would land in the water, and then it would have to be recovered from the water. I think later versions had wheeled landing gear that could be attached if you needed to land on land, and I know these were also used in the military. So a pretty interesting card. It's a little dirty, but I think I can clean that up a little bit. White border, postmark 1925. Here's a political or patriotic card. These are our 25 presidents. Now, obviously, we have a few more than that today, but these presidents range from George Washington all the way up to Theodore Roosevelt, and each one is pictured there and the years that they served. A nice embossed card. On the back, we have our ad for our potential 26th president, William Taft. So it is a political card as well as a patriotic card. Nice clean shape, divided back, of course. Another patriotic type of card. This is a Veterans Day card. Here you see the North and the South shaking hands as they remember the veterans of the Civil War. And this card is divided back, postmarked 1910. This is the Wabash Bridge in Mingo Junction, Ohio. Nice view there. This was postally used in 1907, so we'll call this a divided back era card. Yes. See the bridge there and some railroad tracks, so probably a desirable view if you're from Mingo Junction, Ohio. Here is the hospital in Clarksville, Tennessee. Nice white border view. It is unused. It does have a little spot of surface loss down in the corner. That's a little bit of a bummer, but still sellable, I believe. Some automobile advertising. This is the 1984 Camaro two-door Berlinetta Coupe. Obviously a newer version card, 1984. And I believe I saw a couple copies of this same card in this lot of cards. Another automobile advertising related. These are, looks like Chevrolet trucks for 1991. This is the pickup family. More auto advertising. This is the 1984 Chevrolet S10 Maxi Cab pickup. Unused. Back to regular cards. This is the Braun House in Muncie, Indiana. It is unused. Got some writing, but somebody tried to erase that, and there's some surface loss there. But nice older view. This is the First National Bank building in East St. Louis. You can see an old horse-drawn wagons over there. Some people standing outside. Divided back, unused. I actually do pretty well with East St. Louis. Nice older cards like this. Next up, we have Angel's Flight and the BPOE building in Los Angeles, California. I don't know what it is about the Angel's Flight here, but every time I get a card with Angel's Flight, whether it be like this, which is an older divided back, or a white border, or a linen, or even a chrome, they sell pretty quickly. So this apparently is a very popular thing for somebody. And I always do well with these, so anytime I see Angel's Flight, I get it. Here's another card from, like we looked at a little while earlier, at the Alaska Yukon Pacific Exposition in Seattle, Washington. This is a view on Yukon Avenue, and I would assume that these buildings here have something to do with the exposition. It's a real photo postcard, unposted. Here's another view at the Alaska Yukon Pacific Expo in Seattle. This says Cascades and the government building. Again, real photo, it's unused. So those may be interesting to exposition collectors. Here's a view in Long Beach, California. This is Hotel Del Mar. Got a vintage auto parked out front. Got some water over here with some people in a boat. This is a divided back card. It was postally used in 1911. Here's another West Virginia card. This is the Straley Building in Princeton, West Virginia. Divided back card, postally used 1916. So as I said before, small towns in West Virginia, good sellers. Here's a Halloween card. Rarely do I come across a Halloween card in a lot of cards. A pretty rare occurrence, but I did find one this time. This obviously is a fellow who, he says, have no fear, but he looks a little afraid. We have a pumpkin, we have a black cat. This was postally used in 1911. It is embossed. It's in good condition. It has some corner and edge wear, and there is a corner crease down here at the left corner. But all in all, it's not too bad. It's great to find a Halloween card in a batch of cards, but personally, I don't really pursue these because there's a lot out there, and they're not as valuable as you might initially think. You really have to find some of the better ones to get any real money for. But, I will sell it, but it probably won't go for a whole lot of money. Here's another railroad station. It's the B&O station in Connellsville, Pennsylvania. That's a nice, clean view. It was postmarked in 1913. As I said, railroad stations and railroad-related, always good topics. Does have a faint corner crease down here, but hopefully that won't affect it too much. Here's a real photo view. This is a general view looking I don't know what direction we're looking, but this is Perryopolis, Pennsylvania. Perryopolis is near Uniontown, I believe, kind of between Washington and Uniontown, Pennsylvania. This is an older photo, postmarked 1914, and I'm sure this view looks nothing like this today. Here we have a nice greeting card. This is to my Valentine. And generally, I don't do a lot of greeting cards, but when I come across some of the nicer, cleaner examples, I will buy them. This one was postally used in 1911. It's embossed, but it's very nice and clean. Doesn't show much wear at all, just real light corner wear. And it's nice and colorful, and cards like these, they do sell. Okay, another handful. You thought I was done. No. Okay, here's a political card. This says Carter or Kennedy. The people have spoken in the primaries. And here it says, I shall return in 84. I guess that's Teddy saying that. It's unused. Another political card. Vote for independent John Anderson for president in 1980. Again, unused. I was certainly old enough to be around in those elections, but at that time I didn't pay much attention to politics. I don't remember a whole lot about those guys. Here we have the County Savings Bank building in Adrian, Michigan. This is postally used 1910, I believe. Banks are always good. Bit of a postmark smudge up here, but not that big of a deal. Here's another bank. This is in Wilkinsburg, Pennsylvania, which is a suburb of Pittsburgh. Divided back, unused card. Real photo. This is looking west in Boynton Beach, Florida. You can see some older cars down there. This appears to be a gas station over on the right-hand side. Well, I think there's one over here on the left corner too. I see a gas pump there and a gas pump there. This was postally used in 1940, but real photos are always good. Here we have the bathing hour in Southampton, Long Island, New York. I find that Long Island cards are good sellers. This is a beach scene, and beach scenes always do well as well. A divided back, unused. Here is another real photo. This says residents of EMS, I think that's Pile, I'm not quite sure. But on the back, it does talk about this more, so it is identified as to where this is. This was postmarked in 1909. So again, anytime you can find a house or a view that's identified, then you might have something there. Here we have a pennant card, not an actual felt pennant, just printed, but it says, on our honeymoon, let's take a trip to Clyde. Clyde is a very, very, very small town in the western Pennsylvania area. I worked briefly for FedEx, and I actually delivered packages to Clyde, and I can tell you it's very small. So this would be interesting. As I said, very small town. This was postmarked in 1916, and actually found about 10 of these, all different, with the Clyde pennant, all different scenes and sayings, but all from Clyde. So I'm hoping that I have a Clyde collector out there. Here we have the Rushier House in Ridgewood, New Jersey. This is a undivided back card. It was used in 1908. It has a little bit of a tear here at the bottom. There you see a horse-drawn wagon over there, but New Jersey is generally a good state to sell cards from. Here we have some airline advertising. This is a TWA Airlines Super G Constellation airplane. On chrome, unused. And another one also from TWA. This is a view of Oak Creek Canyon, Arizona. But still advertising for TWA Airlines. Slightly different back than that one, but both chrome era, both postally unused. But nice advertising. Here's a military card. V for victory. Strive for victory. Nice linen card. World War II era. It was posted in 1942 by a service member, has the free cancellation on it. So, V for victory. Military card, good topic. Here we have Market Street looking east in Katanning, Pennsylvania. This is a divided back card, unused. Don't know if you ever had this issue, but if you can see this card is starting to separate. The front is separating from the back. And if you've ever run into that problem, I have found for me a good solution is I take a glue stick like this. I take a glue stick and I gently separate these and rub some of that on both halves of that. And then if you press that and weight that down for a few minutes, that usually keeps them together. So very nice street view. A trolley there, storefronts, lots of people walking around, and it's a very little soiling on the back, but it's in very good condition, very little edge and corner wear. So I do want to take the time to repair that, because that's a really nice street view. Another street view, this is in Brookville, PA, Main Street looking east. Lots of old automobiles, and again we have storefronts. White border card, mailed in 1920. Another railroad station, this is the Pennsylvania Railroad Station in Jeannette, PA, another town that's not too far from me here. This is a divided back card, it was not postally used. railroad stations, very good topic. Here we're going back to Latrobe, Pennsylvania, close to me. Here's the freight yards and the passenger sheds, which are right at the railroad station as well in Latrobe. This card was postally used in 1913. Railroad, good topic. Here is another view. You know what? I think this view is exactly the same as one we looked at a while ago, because I remember this dog walking across the street. This is Main Street in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. This is a divided back card, and it was postally used in 1908. So that's actually a duplicate of a view we saw a few minutes back. Here we have the Westinghouse Electric and Manufacturing Company in East Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. A divided back card mailed in 1908. There's a lot of industrial and factory cards around this era in the early 1900s, because Pittsburgh was a major industrial center, and a lot of the small towns around Pittsburgh were involved in manufacturing as well. Here we're in Wilkinsburg, Pennsylvania, again a suburb of Pittsburgh. This is Wood and Pennsylvania Avenue, looking south. Divided back card, unused, nice and clean. Here we have some more manufacturing. This is the Firth Sterling Steelworks in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, again near Pittsburgh. Divided back card, postally used 1908. Small tear here on the left edge, but not too bad. Railroad station. This is the P&LE station in McKeesport, again. Nice looking view. Here's a sign up here for Owl Cigars, and some other signage over here. Need a magnifying glass to see that, but divided back card, postally used, and I can't quite make out the date, like maybe 1916 on that one. I think we have the same card here. Yep. Well, not exactly. It's slightly different. It's the same railroad station, and from almost the same angle, but there's different people in each one. This one is divided back and unused, but this one has a pole in the view. This one does not, but very similar views of the same railroad station. Still in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, this is a view on Locust Street. Again, there's a trolley down there. Some storefronts. It's very clean, very light wear. Postally, it's divided back, postally unused. Here we have an interesting card. This is a little girl feeding her teddy bear. So I don't know if this would actually qualify as fantasy or not. It is a divided back card, postally used 1908. I see it's international art. That many times could be an Ellen Clapsaddle card, but this doesn't really look like her style to me, so I don't know who the artist was on that one. These are not creases. These are, I guess, what would be, if they're either scratches on the card or marks on the wall here, I'm not sure, but they aren't creases. That's not in too bad a shape, but another interesting one. Here's a nice greeting type card, again, to my Valentine. Nice and clean, good, very little wear. Attractive looking, a girl with some flowers there. It was postally used in 1909. It's embossed. You can see the impression on the back there. These do sell well. Here's a Thanksgiving card. This is, again, nice and clean, not much wear. A couple turkeys there with crossed American flags, patriotic theme as well. postally unused, again embossed. You can see that there. Here is another Valentine card. It says, "To my Valentine," and this little girl, it looks like, is trying to catch this bird. And it's an artist signed postcard. It has a signature of E. Curtis down there. Pretty clean. It's a Raphael Tuck card. It was postally used, but I can't read the date there. Another nice greeting card. It says, "A token of esteem." We have a woman driving this automobile that's covered with flowers, and we have a Cupid, so I guess it's a Valentine type card. There's a little bit of album marking down here, but I think this can clean up. And it's a divided back, postally unused, embossed. Okay, there's another Thanksgiving. Here we see a couple girls watching these turkeys here. They might even be feeding them. It's hard to tell, but it's a nice condition. Postally used, 1908. But a nice clean card. And here we have Elsie Janis. Now, Elsie Janis was apparently an American actress and singer, and she did some other things as well. This is, she wrote a little note on here, and then these are pictures of her as in different roles that she played. I don't know. I don't believe the writing is not actually from pen. It's printed on here. But this card is used, and it was dated postally used 1907. So she was an actress. Okay, this is the last stack. Here I have another patriotic card. This is Abraham Lincoln, and it says, "President Lincoln's entry into Richmond, Virginia, April 4th, 1865. It is divided back, unused, nice and clean, embossed. Patriotic cards, pretty good sellers. Here we have a Thanksgiving card. Here we have a lady, looks almost like a pilgrim lady with the turkey and all kinds of fruits and vegetables and things over here. This is postally used, 1910. It's embossed. And this card has what they call like a gel finish. It's a very shiny finish, almost looks like it was varnished. And most times these gel finish cards are all have a lot of crazing and cracking, and the finish is coming off. In this case, it's pretty intact. It does have a little bit of edge wear, but the gel finish throughout the bulk of the main part of the card is in very good shape. So that's why I chose that one. It's hard to find those in good condition. Here we have what I guess would be an advertising card. It says, "Best musical of the season, Destry Rides Again, the Imperial Theater in New York City." There you see some scenes from the show. Chrome era card. It's just starred Andy Griffith and Dolores Gray. I know Andy, but I don't know Dolores. But so they're advertising. Nice clean shape. Here we have a advertising again. This is the Edison photograph. Here we have a gentleman listening to it, and they both seem to be pretty amazed by what they're hearing coming out of there. This card is postally used in 1913. Another advertising. This says the day before, so I guess the day before her wedding, it would appear. "How lovely, every stitch done on the free." So that is the free sewing machine. It's a divided back, postally unused, as you can see, but that is an advertising for sewing machine. Another advertising. This is Prudential insurance company. It's got a little girl here with her dog, and it looks like she's blowing bubbles there. It has a calendar for 1910 on it. And on the back is a little bit more information about the insurance company. This is, I guess it has to be on the divided back because it only has a place for the address here. So another nice advertising card. More advertising. This says compliments of H.J. Weber and Sons Nursery. I don't know where that was. It says post office, looks like Missouri. So I guess if you just send that to Missouri, they know where this is. But anyway, there's some of their specialties, some colorful flowers and fruits there. It's undivided back. It was not used. So interesting advertising piece. Here's a colorful card. This says Figs of J. Christides Orchards, conveyed to the Dermanjeek Station. This is a picture of the orchards of the sole exporters owning fig plantations in Asia Minor. So pretty colorful there. It's a divided back, unused, but nice example of advertising. Here we have a bird's eye view of the French Lick Springs Hotel and golf course. That's in French Lick, Indiana, the home of Pluto Water. You can see divided back, mailed in 1920, but what's neat about this is they also give you a scorecard down here. If you want to play golf, they give you a scorecard for 18 holes here, right on the front of the card. So that's kind of something you don't see often. Here we have, again, what would be, I guess, considered advertising. This is for American Airlines, America's leading airline. We see happy people getting off the plane here. The American Airlines plane. It's a chrome card, unused. Here's a few cards from Hobo Joe's Restaurants. This says Hobo Joe's was in Newport Beach, California. I'm not sure if it was a chain or just a single restaurant, but I have several versions here. These are all have like artist scenes on the front advertising the restaurant, and they're scenes of hobos. So there's that one. Here's another. Oh, sorry, bumped the camera. Here's another one. And there's another one. So I have had these cards before and I have sold them. So there's 4 different versions of Hobo Joe's restaurant advertising. Another advertising card that says, having a glorious time, we all use mentholatum for sunburns, insect bites, and whatever. But there are some people in their vintage auto on their vacation or out for the day doing stuff, and they use mentholatum. You can see a little jar of it here. This is a divided back card, postally used in 1911. This is also advertising. Here we see the first McNess Company Sunlight Laboratory, home of McNess Sanitary Products. So here's their factory. And on the back we see some more advertising for first aid medicines, extracts, spices, toilet articles, stock and poultry preparations. This is a white border card, and it was mailed in 1920. So again, some interesting advertising. Here we have the blimp over Waterfront Park in St. Petersburg. This is probably spring training stadium here, baseball spring training. And here we have the Goodyear blimp flying over. A linen era card, postally used in 1938. So we have a blimp or a dirigible as they're called, or a Zeppelin even, and sports. So it's kind of a combination of a couple topics there. Here again we see the Goodyear blimp. This is at the airship factory and dock in Akron, Ohio. There's the blimp up there, and here's the dock where the blimp is housed. This is a white border era card, and this one was mailed in 1933. Here we have the Everglades Club on Worth Avenue in Palm Beach, Florida. Palm Beach, Florida is a good seller for me. There's some vintage autos down the street. White border card. It's supposedly unused. Here is a view of the college and campus at St. Vincent College in Beatty, PA. Beatty, PA is now known as Latrobe, PA. That we looked at a few cards from there earlier, which is a small town just minutes from me here. St. Vincent College still exists today. It's actually St. Vincent's College is where the Pittsburgh Steelers have their training camp, if you're interested in that. This is the divided back card, and it was unused. Some roadside type cards. This is the Elms Motor Lodge in Flint, Michigan. Unused chrome card. Multi-view is the motel, and there's the swimming pool. These are popular. Here we have the Melrose Motel in Prospect, Kentucky. This is a linen card. It is not postal used, but does have a message on the back. Here we have Bob Evans Restaurant in Rio Grande, Ohio. This is a more modern card. You can see by the vehicles it looks like a 70s era card. But I'm sure everybody's heard of Bob Evans Restaurants. Here we have the Flying Dutchman Motor Hotel Restaurant. This is the restaurant. You can see some older cars, look like 60s era cars here, cars parked at the restaurant. So another nice roadside restaurant type card. Here's a view at Mackinac Island, Michigan. This is Arnold's Dock. And this is a pretty nice scene. You have a steamship here docked, some people either getting off or getting on the ship. There's another smaller boat over here. Just an interesting card, a lot of activity going on here. This is a Detroit publishing card, which I know there are a lot of collectors out there who just collect Detroit publishing. This is a nice clean one, supposedly unused. Here we have an old view of San Diego and the Bay in California. This is an undivided back card. It's not been used. It does have a little note on the front, but that would certainly be a view that would not look anything like that today, I would bet. Here's a gondola in Venice, California, on the canal there. This is a divided back era card. It's unused. Nice clean condition. Here's a view at Conneaut Lake Park in Pennsylvania. This is a white border. It has been used sometime in the 1920s. It is an amusement park. It does still exist today, although I'm not sure how much of the park is still amusement related today. But Conneaut Lake is still a resort area, and I sell a lot of Conneaut Lake Park. So anytime I see these, I pick these up. Here's another view at Conneaut Lake Park. This is the Sunken Gardens. This is white border as well. Looks like again in the 1920s, although it's hard to read that postmark. Here's the Children's Home in Akron, Ohio. Divided back card, postmark 1915. Interesting subject matter. Here we have the Cottage of the Sisters of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at Sea Isle City, New Jersey. So this is a New Jersey beach town, I believe. This is a linen card. It was used in 1941. And I guess what they're saying here, this is owned by the Sisters of in Pittsburgh, PA, and they stay here when they come to see Owl City. Here we have a view in Blairsville, Pennsylvania, also another small town not far from me here. This is a view on North Walnut Street. This is a divided back card, postally used in 1914. Here we have a real photo. This is, it looks like W.H. Nauchtreib residence in Decatur, Indiana. This card, and there's Decatur, Indiana there, was used, posted 1907. And we have someone in the yard there on a horse. And I'm wondering if this is one of those situations where photographers would come around and invite you to sit on their horse and have your picture taken. It looks like maybe a young boy there. So I'm guessing that might be that. Or this young man happened to own a horse, one of the two. But an interesting photo. Here is a view of Sandy Lake in Stoneboro, Pennsylvania. You can see some of the residents back here and the lake further in the distance there. Divided back, postally used 1908, another small town. Real photo, this is a view of Evergreen Park in Kane, Pennsylvania. Undivided back, postally used in 1907. Here we have a view in Wilmerding, Pennsylvania. You see some factories and industry over here on the left and residential area here on the right. Divided back card. It's unused, postally. Here is a view of Washington Foundries in Trafford City, Pennsylvania, another factory industry card. This is a divided back used in 1911. Here we have Spring Hill Cottage in Cheat Haven, Pennsylvania. Someone has written on the face here. But you can see some people relaxing on the porch. There's boating at Spring Hill Cottage. It's a summer resort on the Monongahela River near Point Marion. So there's some more information about it. So it's a resort area. This card was posted in 1909. Here's the Kingsley House in Kellettville, Pennsylvania. Divided back card, postally used, 1900 something. Just somebody took the stamp off and took the last number of the date, or the date with it. So, but again, small town view. No doubt collectors out there looking for those. Now the real photo, here's a view in Paxton, Illinois. This is the business section. You can see the very wide street and businesses down both sides. See some readable signs there if you have a magnifying glass. This card was postally used. Again, I can't read the year, but I would certainly guess that was the early 1900s. Now the railroad station, this is the Western Maryland Railroad Station in Cumberland, Maryland. You can see the train coming into the station. It's a white border card. It's unused. Another view also in Cumberland. This is the B&O station and the Queen City Hotel. Again, the train is pulling into the station. White border card, postally unused. So two pretty nice railroad station views there. Here is a nice card. This lady reminds me kind of the State Girl series. She has holding a bouquet of flowers, and her dress and her hat are silk. And so that's applied silk there. Plus this little flag up in the corner is also silk. It doesn't say anything, so I don't know what this was meant to represent, but it's a neat card all the same. Divided back, supposedly used in 1908. You can see it's embossed. So I don't know if that was originally a part of some series or not, but with the silk applique, it's interesting. Back to a local town here. This is Ligonier, Pennsylvania, near me. This is the Ligonier Springs Hotel. This is divided back, and it was used in 1908. Pretty sure this doesn't exist anymore, but Ligonier is a nice small town for collectors. Another view in Ligonier. This is a state road view. You can see the road here, dirt road here to the side, and it's crossing a stream, most likely Loyalhanna Creek here. This is a divided back card. It was mailed in 1910. Another view in Ligonier. This is a bird's eye view of Ligonier. Not sure the direction we're looking. Divided back, posted in 1909. And one more view here in Ligonier, Main Street. And you can see Main Street is basically just a dirt road. And a lot of trees, but not a lot of visible buildings. So again, this scene would look nothing like that today. Divided back card, supposedly used in 1910. Another automobile advertising. This we have for a suburban C10 Silverado. I don't see the date on here, but this looks like probably a 1980s era vehicle. It's so chrome era, unused. So automobile advertising, and I'm pretty sure I saw about 10 or 12 copies of that in the. And lastly, this card that I thought was interesting. This is a continental size card, 6x4, and it's from France. And it looked like that this was hand drawn, but I could be wrong. But regardless, I translated the words here, and it says rather prison than killing. And here you can see a fellow, I guess these are meant to be prison bars, and over here we have scenes of some kind of a devastation, and someone's been killed, and here's somebody with their injured or dead child. And so rather prison than killing. And then at the bottom it says, think about conscientious objectors. So this guy's in prison because he objected to going to war and serving in the army. I guess since it's French card, that would be the French army. It's dated 1958. So I'm not sure what war he's objecting to. I don't know what, unfortunately, I don't know what war France was involved in 1958. But I found that just very interesting. He's a conscientious objector. So not sure what that card is worth or what the interest is, but we're going to see.
Well, that's all I have for you today. So if you liked this video, please give me a like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. That will help the channel to grow and reach more people. And as always, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.